Now, you may have seen the leaked report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change that says that capitalism is unsustainable, and the main driver of climate collapse is an economic model based on perpetual growth, and the only way to avert it is to change that economic model. What you may not have seen is another leaked report with documents showing the leaders of major oil and meat producing countries, as well as the leaders of private corporations, lobbying to change the language in this report, seeking to remove phrases like the need for urgent and accelerated mitigation actions at scale.
These types of reports should get more attention, but unfortunately they don't. And when the IPCC report came out, there was a good digital strategy by a lot of environmental activists to try to shift the focus from whatever that day's top story was, which we all forget now, to that report, because these existential threats should be top priority. The movie Don't Look Up, if you haven't seen it, I would suggest you watch it, did a really good job skewering the media for this type of thing. They focus more on sensational or entertainment-based stories than stories about climate disaster or the stories about how capitalism is destroying our planet. Ultimately, they're cogs in that machine, and they stand to serve a profit rather than inform you, so however they can best keep your attention, they're going to go with that. Sensational entertainment stories do a much better job retaining people's interest and keeping them happy than stories about how we're all doomed. So that's what they're going to focus on. But now that I've got your attention, I hope you stick with me, because some of these things are really alarming. The fact that big polluters and big industry has been able to successfully distort people's perceptions of their role in affecting climate change, greenwashing, through positive PR, through even shifting the responsibility, the burden onto you. Your carbon footprint, that was created by the oil industry to shift and divert attention away from what they were doing and make you, the consumer, feel like you were responsible for changing things. Using paper straws, using reusable bags at the grocery store, walking instead of driving, those are, noble things. That's not going to have a major impact, even in aggregate. We need to rein in our emission, and even carbon offsets, which John Oliver just did a recent episode exposing how farcical that whole thing is, isn't enough, because even if people continue emitting at the same rate, the carbon offset program really doesn't lead to any net reduction, which is ultimately what we need. We can't just have things continue on the way they are and just level them out. We need to have a serious reduction in emissions.
I am neither disappointed nor surprised. As long as the ruling class stands to benefit from the drivers of climate change, it will never be addressed. They would rather see us all suffer and die than lose a fraction of their wealth.
But underscoring all of this is capitalism. When you have a system built around the perpetual pursuit of profits, even the best performers are going to eventually turn a blind eye to ethics. And that's troubling, because that's going to come at the expense of the planet, the ecosystem, animals, people, our society, everything. They aren't going to care, whether it's through pollution, whether it's through labor practices, from emissions to healthcare to wages, whatever. They aren't going to care eventually, because they just need to make more and more and more money. That's why one of the biggest things we have to do to fight climate change is look at how our global economy operates. Maybe we don't need a society where people can amass millions and billions of dollars. Maybe we don't need a society where the wealthy can take a private jet for a 15-minute flight, where they own multiple yachts, where they own multiple homes. These types of things are excess. Nobody needs any of that. It's just a convenient luxury for the world's elite. And they have a disproportionate amount of emissions compared to the average person. But that's a byproduct of capitalism. A more equitable economy will lead to a more equitable planet.